The Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art is a treasure trove of fashion and finery. Conservator Chris Polisic is preparing the pieces that have been chosen for the curator's tribute to Philippe de Montebello, who's departing the museum after 31 years as director. This is a dress by Madame Gray, a Parisian couturier who began her career in the 1930s.
This particular example is actually from 1965, and it is the quintessential kind of Grecian style gown that looks very simple, but in fact it's very elaborate in construction. And this has been in storage for some time. And in preparation for dressing it for the exhibition, I'm going to be steaming or humidifying it. And so I'm trying to ease out all the creases that you can see. Underneath this layer of pleated fabric, there's another understructure, which is like a sheath skirt. And what Madame Gray has done is she's taken the fabric, lengths of fabric, and pleated it and secured it to this base.
Madame Gray designed dresses for luminaries like the Duchess of Windsor, Marlene Dietrich, Greta Garbo, and Jackie Kennedy. She was actually trained as a sculptor.
This drape, it's draped along the front here in panels and secured along the waistband, and this over shoulder is very, very much like Roman or Greek statuary of the period. I think it must have made the woman look really gorgeous and feel really beautiful in it, because she had this kind of long, sinuous body and this drapery kind of floating after her.
Another magnificent work is this gold lame dress from the 1920s. It's a signature piece by French designer Paul Poiret, famous for freeing women's bodies from restricting corsets and tailored construction.
It must have looked like liquid gold on the body. On the inside, you can see the fragmented silk is fractured because it's weighted silk. And we are trying to stabilize it in order to dress it and support it during the installation. This is an example of hair silk, which we purchase in this form in skeins. And what we do is we actually braid it up into lengths so we can use it for stitching. So once we've made these braids, we then dye it to match whatever we're working on. And then we would take one of the filaments, which is actually two thin threads, and stitch with this very fine filament. Another thing that's really interesting about this piece on the interior waistband is actually an example of Paul Poiret's label with his signature rose, Paul Poiret à Paris. And this is very important in the documentation of pieces. On my right is an example of the quintessential Poiret cocoon coat from 1919. This is actually an interesting piece because it is one length of fabric, and that has been seamed, and it has this very open cocoony shape, and it would have just slithered on the body and been worn close to shape and just dragged along the ground. So this is very classic of what Poiret is associated with and known for.
Signature pieces from a signature collection. And by the time they are exhibited, they are perfectly preserved examples of the artistry they embody.